Welcome back to the Football Tragics. I'm your host, Aaron. I'm joined here by Tony, Morty, and Campo. How are we doing today, lads?
Yeah, good.
Good, mate.
This is going to be our transfer roundup special. We're going to be ranking each Premier League teams, how they've performed in the window, giving them a little school report card. Maybe a D minus, D plus, A minus. Who knows? We're going to start though in part one with Arsenal. 10 teams each part. Probably the best place to start, I think. Campo, I want to start with you. You're obviously your rivals. How did you rate their transfer window?
That window screams they're planning for the future, not for now. They needed to bring in a couple big names to shore up that defense, to shore up that midfield, and they can't lure anyone in. The likes of Odegaard, 30 mil for an average player. Ramsdale, 30 mil for a backup keeper. Lokonga, he's young, he looks good. He's been playing well in the Prem, but he's got time. He's got to adapt still. I think it was a very, very poor window from Arsenal. Ben White for 50 mil. That's just ludicrous. English tax is a real thing, but that's a stinker.
So if you had to rate obviously we'll start with you. If you had to rate their window based on what would you give it?
A D. It's not an F because they signed, to the future, but it's not real good right now, is it?
Yeah, I think you're spot on there. Look, you covered all their transfers. The only one you missed was Tomiyasu on the deadline day, and I believe that transfer his agent offered him to every single Premier League club, trying to get him a move. And Arsenal, I guess, were like, yeah, we need a right back who's not actually a right back. Is he a centre back? I don't know where he plays. I can't say I've seen him play ever. So I think that was the position they needed to fill the most. Have they done it? I don't know. They let go of Bellerin on loan, so again, I don't know. I've gone to give them a D minus. Can't give them an F just because I don't know. It can't be too harsh, can I? But I've gone with a D minus. I haven't seen enough of them. Those transfers don't scream out to me. That Ramsdale is one of the worst of the lot by far. Morty, what were your thoughts on that?
Look, if you look at the money spent and then you read out that list of players, it doesn't sound too great. But if you're in charge of Arsenal right now and you tried signing anyone, no one's coming to you. You've got to be. You're paying a tax on top of the English tax for Ben White for him to rock up to Arsenal's defence, because they're building for the future, as they say. But I don't know where to start with it, because it's not great. It's not terrible, but they've got to start somewhere, and they can't be. The last time they've tried pulling out these big signings, they spent more money on Pepe and Aubameyang combined, and Aubameyang rocked up for a season and a half, and Pepe still hasn't shown up. So they've got to start again, pretty much, and just go from the ground up. So I give them C minus.
C minus. Okay, that's polite. Tony, how are you rounding Arsenal off?
Obviously you boys, you all kind of summed up with what we're going to speak about. I'm going to go with D plus, and honestly, everything you guys said, the only reason I'm going D plus instead of a D is the average departures was 25.4 years old, and the average arrivals was 22. So it gives them another year or two to build. So I'm going to go D plus.
All right. And if they do go ahead and get Conte in a few months' time, possibly, I'll give them a bloody A for that. But that hasn't happened yet. We're going to move on to Villa. Massive news, obviously, with them. Jack Grealish going to City. So based on that alone, do you give them a D because massive loss? Or do you look at their rivals, the likes of Leon Bailey, Emi Buendia, Ashley Young, Danny Ings, Tuanzebe, just names there. That's potential, a lot of potential, some good signings there. I've gone to give them a B plus. That Jack Grealish going obviously is a big loss, and that's the only reason I didn't give him anywhere near an A. But B plus and being nice with them. I think that Danny Ings signing out of nowhere was phenomenal, probably their best of the lot. And Emi Buendia is almost a Jack Grealish replacement. Tony, I'm going to cross straight back to you. What would you give him?
It's a tough one because obviously they've lost obviously Grealish, but I think in the end that's probably good business. He was never going to be there for the next 5-6 years. We always knew he was going to leave. He was going to get that big money move. I'm going to give him an A minus. I think they've signed well. We've seen Danny Ings kind of hit the ground running in the first couple of weeks. And if he can keep that up and score 15, 16 goals, it's going to look like a masterstroke on Villa's behalf.
Yeah, Campo.
I've also given him an A- for the fact that they did their business before Jack Grealish left. Because if they did their business after, every team knows they're going to be desperate. They have 100 mil in the bank. They're going to charge extra. So for them to get that job done on the cheaper side, I think that's really well done business there.
Yeah, it's a real good point. And Morty, to round us off.
I've given them an A. I think you can say that they've lost Grealish, but at the end of the day, they're Aston Villa. They've come up, they're stuck in the Prem, and they've done the right thing. They've brought in some Premier League experience in Danny Ings. They've brought in some experience around just in the Prem in general, and Ashley Young, just around the ground. And they've brought in young talent to try and compensate for losing Grealish. Like, it's not like we're talking about Man City here. Like, they were never going to be able to afford him for the next 3-4 years, and otherwise he'd get the shits and leave for free. So they might as well take the money while someone's paying for it and do good business around it. So I give them an A.
Well, maybe I was being the harsh critic amongst us. We're going to move on to Brentford. There's not too much for them. They've got a signing, I can't pronounce it, Christopher Ajer from Celtic, £13.5 million. I can't speak about him. I don't think any of you boys probably could. I've gone and given them a C, flat C. They obviously beat Arsenal in that first game. I know we're not talking results here, but I don't know. They've come up to the Premier League. They haven't splashed a lot of money like Fulham did a few years ago. They've just stopped. So I'm fine with a C. That's my neutral reaction there. Morty, what have you given them?
Look, I give them a B-. I mean, reading their ins list, there's a decent amount of players coming in. Obviously, they're just trying to bolster the squad to get through the season. I think that their aim of the game is to stay up. So hopefully they've done enough just to hold on, and we might see more of the money coming next season.
Tony?
I'm going to give them a C. You think with teams that we've seen in the past, when they've come up, if the teams that haven't really spent too much, most likely go down. Yes, there's a few exceptions. Brentford so far, they've started the season all right, and I might be proved wrong, but just if I'm coming up into the Premier League, I'm spending 50, 60 million, I'm at least strengthening parts that I need to strengthen. And yes, obviously they beat Arsenal, but it was Arsenal. Like, we've seen how the rest of the next 3 rounds have gone. Arsenal are in a lot more trouble than what Brentford are, which is scary to say. But yeah, I'm going to go over C. I feel like they could have brought more players in. They could have got a few Premier League, other clubs like loanees in, stuff like that. Chelsea probably could have funded their squad with loanees, but yeah.
We'll get into Chelsea, but like you said there, they could have spent about 50 million or so. I think you get about 300 million, 290 or something just for getting into the Premier League alone. So to reinvest a lot of that to stay up in the Premier League, because it's worthwhile to stay up every year. I think you're right. They could have spent a bit more. Campo, what were you? How would you rank it?
I've given them a C as well, just because they've kept hold of Ivan Toney. He could have easily have left to a Everton or something like that, a better club. But they've kept his services, and they've haven't brought anyone in that's noteworthy, but they've kept hold of their players that carried them to the championship.
Yeah, I think you're spot on there. Burnley, nothing too crazy here. Not spent a whole lot of money at all. Maxwell Cornet, I believe, is their only big signing. We're not sure exactly on the price of that one. Sky Sports says it's undisclosed, so who knows. I think it's a good signing, but it's not a Burnley signing in the slightest. I think he will hate it there. And I don't know if he's all seen the picture of him kissing the Umbro badge instead of the actual Burnley badge. So that tells you enough there. I've given him a C-. I don't think it's anything special. Probably a little less than what Brentford did. So nothing crazy here. Morty, what have you given them?
It's Burnley, a D. Surprised they signed anyone, to be honest. But I don't know if you know this or not, but we all know how Pepe turned out, and Cornet was actually worse than Pepe the year Pepe left. So, yeah, I don't think it's going to work well at Burnley at all. I don't understand Burnley's logics going through here. They've been in the Premier long enough. Surely they get some money somewhere.
But they just stay in the Premier League, though, don't they? Their books must be pretty. Like, they must have a lot of money just in the bank.
But where is
They
it
don't
going?
spend it. I don't know. They don't spend anything. Campo, how would you rate it?
Oh, D+. Nothing really going on. Aaron Lennon came back, and Hennessy joined him as a backup goalkeeper. But again, nothing really screams we're going to stay up. But they always find a way to. So they probably have 500 mil sitting there waiting for Haaland next year.
Yeah.
But
He wouldn't even make their starting lineup, though, would he, with Ashley Barnes up top?
oh hell no,
Chris
Chris
Wood.
Wood and Ashley Barnes.
Yeah. Dominant force. Tony, what would you give him?
I'm going to take a different approach here. I'm actually going to give him. It's between a B- and a C+. My reasoning is the players they have spent money on is a left back, a centre back, a right back, and a centre back. And how did Burnley play? They parked the bus. So signing what they're going to do and how they're going to play, I think they've done perfect business. They were never going to sign attacking players because they're not going to attack and light the Premier League on fire. So
They did.
just so I don't look too bad, we'll give him a C+, but it's leading towards that B- for that reason.
So is Cornet going to be playing left or right back now, is he? Because, I mean, it's Burnley, so he probably will be. But we're going to get into probably one of the busier teams in the window. We've already covered Villa, but Chelsea. And the reason they're busy is because they're... Did we skip Brighton? Oh, my apologies. Oh, they were for Burnley even. No, we went...
Yep.
Did we do Brighton?
No.
We didn't do Brighton. All right, we're going back to Brighton. Sorry. Big signing for Brighton. I like this one a lot. Mark Cucurella from Barca, Getafe, 15.5 mil. Great signing in my eyes. And I've gone to give them a C+ for that, just on that signing alone. But they've made a number of them. Tony, back to you. How would you see their window?
Brighton's an interesting one. Obviously, they have signed a few players. They've had a few players come back on loan. They obviously made the money off Ben White. And we haven't seen enough of Ben White to see if that was a good move or a bad move on their behalf. Who knows? If he has a good season once he does come back, he might be worth more than that. But I'm going to go with a C+.
Yeah, you mentioned Ben White there. Obviously, you skipped over him. 50 mil for him is a steal, I think. They take that money every day of the week. So yeah, that did contribute to my guess. Morty, how would you see their window?
A C+. If it wasn't for Chelsea, their outs list would probably be the longest in the Prem. They've got plenty out on loan. If it wasn't for Cucurella on the last day, they'd be in the mud. But they're Brighton. They'll find a way to do something, and Cucurella could be decent there.
Campo.
C. They did sign that pacey winger from Salzburg, Mwepu, or however you pronounce it, Zambian international. But again, that's maybe a B- for stealing 50 mil for Ben White. But that's about it.
Yeah, I think we do have to take into account the outs as well as the ins. And speaking of outs, we're going to go back to Chelsea, who went over before. Their outs list is as long as anything. I think they basically fill up the whole Sky Sports page. But we're not going to speak on too many of them. The big ones, though, I think Kurt Zouma going to West Ham. Tamori was already done. And then Tammy Abraham, I think, was a big one, obviously, as well. And then there's a few loans in there, which I personally think they're all good loans. Our big one coming in, Lukaku, £97.5 million. And then Sol Niguez, I can't even pronounce his last name perfect. Another really good signing there, I think, on loan. It's much like the Kovacic one a few years ago. There's no real risk there. We're not obligated to buy him. So if he has a good year, then fair enough. We'll keep him. We'll buy him. The only issue I have with Chelsea here is we're obviously heavily linked with Koundé for some time. I think our failure to get that over the line at the end is the reason I've given them A- rather than A or A+, because we let go of Kurt Zouma. Don't know where Ben's come from. Failed to bring another centre back. So that's I've gone with a A-. So Tony, how would you see their window?
I've gone with an A. I didn't even think into what you were saying about the failed transfer and not actually replacing him, but I don't think you need to. I think Chelsea had the defence. We saw it last year where even with Zuma going out, they didn't need to bring in another centre back. They've got the defenders, and they've already shown it so far that they're set in the back line. Obviously, what's his last name? How'd you pronounce it?
Niguez, I don't even know, mate.
Niguez,
I'm not Spanish.
they all just use him Sol. I don't
It's a
think
good
anyone
signing.
uses his last name.
It's a good signing, obviously, if Chelsea, as the owners would want, to make a progression in each cup and each competition, you're going to need backup midfielders. And if he does perform, like you said, you've got the option to buy. And if he doesn't, you send him back. And, well, Lukaku, I'm going to give you an A. And if he scores more than 18 goals, I'll give you an A+. But I still want to see how he goes this year for that price.
Yeah, I think if we do end up doing a mid-year review, Lukaku may be on 15 by then, 10, 15, so I'll be interested to see what you say there. Morty, how would you see it?
I've got to give them an A, really. They've signed what they needed. They didn't really need to fill anywhere else. My only concern is that you've got Lukaku in here, but you've let go Giroud, Bats, and Tammy all in the window. What happens if Lukaku goes down?
No, the informed striker Timo Werner, mate. What else do you need? I don't know what else you need, mate.
No, I just know. But you're in a few competitions. I mean, you can't be throwing Lukaku out every game. So yes, you can play Werner, but
yeah, I do.
You can't be as reliable.
No, I do think you're right there. It's either we do play Werner or we play Havertz as a false nine because we did let go of Giroud, Tammy, Batshuayi, even Broja in the youth team, and Engerin, both players who kind of broke in a little bit. I got a couple cup games here and there. So, we've literally, we're bare up top. But, we'll have to see how injuries hit us there, I think.
What is Bats? He's on loan, isn't he?
He is.
They're all on loan. Except Tammy, they're all on loan.
You never really know with loan recalls, do you? You don't see it happen often enough. I think if Werner and Lukaku, for instance, got injured, then you probably see it happen. But you do pay premiums to get players back on loan, off loan. So I don't see it happening unless
it's such an issue at Chelsea, spending money to bring players back, isn't it?
Mate, it's a struggle. We're struggling, mate. We're struggling out there. Campo.
I got to give it an A. They filled the void of their striker. It takes the pressure off all the other players in that team. And then, you didn't sign a centre back, but with Thiago Silva and Christensen, and it just goes on and on. You don't need that depth right now unless you get an abundance of injuries, but A, I think is fair.
All right. Moving on to Palace, another busy team in the window. I really like some of their transfers. I had them down for a B+. I'm actually going to scrap that and give them an A. I think they've done really well. I know a lot of them unproved and whatnot. Mark Gui, though, he came from Chelsea. Didn't spend, I think, 20 million or something. That's pretty good for him. I think he was Swansea's Player of the Year last year in the Championship. They signed Joachim Anderson from from Lyon. Another really good signing. So that's centre-backs right there sorted. Then you got Conor Gallagher, who he's already had a couple of great games. Will Hughes from Watford. And then Edouard on deadline day from Celtic, which is a striker. They needed to sign a striker. I think Benteke's, he's not quite there, I don't think. Jordan or Andre Ayew, I don't know which one it is. He's not really up there. And then you got likes of Zaha, who are not performing how they should be. And then don't forget they've also got Patrick Vieira as coach first year in. So, I think they've had a really good window. It'll be interesting to see how they carry on all season. But, I've gone pretty highly of them. Tony?
I had them down as a B+. Obviously, they brought in players. They brought in depth. If they can hit the ground running and their bigger players start to perform with these new additions, they've got another year in the Prem. They've probably got no stress about going down. And again, they've got 3-4 really youthful signings, and that's going to benefit them for the future.
Morty?
It's a B. Looking at the list, they let go of centre back. They're bringing in a new centre back younger, so it's just been good business for them. No real outstanding signings, but Crystal Palace. So.
And Morty, Campo, round us off.
I'll give it a B as well, just because they have, it's looking to the future as well. A lot of young signings, but there is potential there. with the likes of Gallagher. He'll probably get recalled eventually. But yeah, some smart business by Crystal Palace. You can't fault them.
Yeah, I think you're right there. Everton, interesting window. Rafa Benitez coming in as manager, that's the biggest talking point, I think. And he seems to, he's not won the crowd over at all, really, because they hate him, but he's doing well so far. They've brought in Andros Townsend, Asmir Begovic, both on frees. Damari Gray was their only real spending, I believe, and somehow they got him for 1.6 million. Unless I'm reading that, unless Sky Sports has got that wrong, I don't know how you've signed a Bayer Leverkusen winger who's pretty decent for 1.6 million. So I've gone and given them a B. Pretty impressed with them so far. Morty, how would you see it? Merseyside rivals?
Don't know. I give them a C, but I feel like they could have done a lot more business bringing in that coach that you can demand a bit more of out of some of the players. You could be bringing in some bit more experience. I think they needed. Like they had the quality at the start of last season. They just sort of died out throughout a bit more experience coming into that team would help them get through the rest of that season along. So, I mean, I wouldn't really call Rondon experience, but he's back in the Prem. I don't even think he'll play a minute, but yeah. So we'll have to wait and see.
Campo?
I would give it a B just because they signed Rondon last minute and he does bag goals. He's proven it. He proved it. He scored at Everton for fun. His last season there was pretty slow, but he is a proven Premier League striker. And if something happens to Calvert-Lewin, they have depth.
Richarlison will still play there.
He's too busy trying to fight for penalties. I think it's been a good window for Everton with, new manager, new tactics. Damari Gray was a steal. Rondon, don't know how much they paid for him, but then your likes of...
Got him on a free.
A lot of free transfers, but they are Premier League proven players.
I swear, are we reading this wrong that Damari Gray signed for 1.6 million? Is that correct or is that wrong? Tony, you're smiling there. Am I wrong?
I had 1 point. It's got 1.6 to 2 million pounds.
No, but so that's less than 10 million. Yeah, less than 10 million. Yeah. How have they done that? He's easily a 10, 20 million dollar player. I think if United's going after him, Chelsea's going after him, Arsenal, you're paying 20, 30 million for him. How they've signed him for 2 million, which is pennies. Not for me, not for you, but for Everton, absolute pennies. I think that's phenomenal. And yeah,
on Everton's actual website, it says undisclosed fee. But yeah,
anything under 10, I'm happy with that. They did let go of a lot of players. Contracts expired, a lot of them. So I think that's just purely let the contract run out. Go find yourself a club. We'll keep our wages down there. Yeah. Tony, what were you giving them?
I'm going to give them a B-. Yes, they did bring in, like we said, Rondon. But I feel like I haven't read the exact terms of Moise Kean's transfer or loan back to Juventus. But if there is an option to buy, I feel like they've brought in a 31-year-old to replace a 21-year-old. It could be their future. And that's why I've gone towards more B- than a B.
I don't think Moise Kean ever fit in at Everton. I think, especially with Ronaldo now going to United, Juve were always kind of interesting going back. He's gone to PSG at times. He does well at big clubs. I'll give him credit, but at Everton, I just don't think he really enjoys it there. I don't think they like him too much. I think they expect a lot more of him, and he is young. So I think if they can get some money from him off Juve next year or whenever the loan expires, then good business. I think another big mention for them, is the likes they kept Calvert-Lewin and Richarlison. They kept both of them, which deadline day was beckoning, and they were both looking like going here and there. So I think they've done well to keep both of those.
But this is my thing. You've just said that they're going to try and get money off Juve next year. Juve wanted to buy him this year. They were offering upwards of 35 million. If he goes to Juve and flops now, they're now going to play it back for nothing. There's no option to buy from what I could read. There's no guarantee to buy. There's an option to buy. There's no guarantee. So you could have taken 35 million or you could get him back next year to rock the bench.
Maybe that is because they are worried they're going to lose either Richarlison or Calvert-Lewin. I think that maybe that is inevitable. So they do get him back and see how he kicks on. But yeah, I don't know. It's a tough one. We will move on to Leeds. their most expensive signing was Daniel James. Deadline day. He finally got his move to Leeds a few years later, had a pit stop in United for a while there. It's expensive signing, 25 million, but, it's that UK tax, I suppose. They signed Junior Firpo as well for 13 million. That's a decent signing from Barca. But Barca's shipping off next to everybody. If we're doing a La Liga special, then we'd just be talking about Barca the whole time. I've gone and given them a C, flat C. It's nothing special, I don't think. I don't think they spent enough. I think they probably could have got better signings in. Morty, how would you see them?
I'm going to give him a B-. I mean, Firpo, he's probably the fullback that fits in well with him. Probably could do some good things there, but, there's a lot more work ethic involved in being a fullback and the Prem rather than for Barcelona there. Dan James, I don't know if it's... I think there was a bit of tax involved buying off United. I don't hate it, but I don't love it either. I think the biggest thing was it's finally getting Jack Harrison fully signed.
Yeah,
no more loan deals with Man City there. I think there'll be a push on with them. And just give us B- here.
Tony?
I don't know how they paid that much for Daniel James, if I'm being honest. He hasn't had the best career at United. It might help that he's probably a handful of good games came against Leeds, and that's maybe why they thought he was valued a lot more. But like we said, they got Harrison across the line. Dan James, how he plays, probably does suit their style of play on that counter-attack 24/7. So I'm going to give him a B- purely because they've signed players that are going to, I guess, help their squad and help their style of play.
Campo.
I give him a C- for the fact that they did not sign any centre backs because they're already good going forward. You don't really need to bolster your attack. What you need is to fix conceding off set pieces over and over again and conceding shit goals.
They don't defend. Why would they sign a centre back? Why waste money? They're not going to defend.
That's what they need to do. Defend. They want some clean sheets in their books. You need to sign players that you're struggling in. They didn't sign any centre backs that will help them. So I think
why can't they score more than the opposition? What's wrong with that tactic?
It doesn't work half the time, as you see this year.
Oh, God. And to round off part one, Leicester City, they were hit with some injuries to start the season. Soyuncu and is Soyuncu back? I don't know. And Wesley Fofana, obviously the big one, did his ACL, MCL. Is Soyuncu back yet, or did he get injured again?
Not sure.
Either way, they signed. Either way, they signed Yannick Vestergaard for 15 million. I don't know if he's worth that much. He's a big body, good player at Southampton, but is he worth 15 million? I don't know. Also got Ryan Bertrand a free from them. Patson Daka from RB Salzburg. I can't speak on him. I don't know too much about him. 23 million. And Babakayu Samari from Lille for 17 million. That's two strikers, and they've paid almost 40 mil. Bang on 40 mil for two strikers when they've got Jamie Vardy and Kelechi Iheanacho. Do they need two strikers, even one striker? I don't know. I've given them a flat C. I don't think it's great business. But I suppose Leicester, they do progress each year, and I suppose maybe they're just signing to have numbers, have depth when they've got these other competitions to worry about. Tony, I can see you want to say something. So how did you rate their window?
Honestly, I'm giving them a D+ purely because they put 9 goals on a team and then go sign 2 defenders from that team. I get they weren't expensive. One came in as a free transfer. One was, I can't give them more than that purely because there's a lot better centre backs that they could have gone for that they didn't destroy last year and show the whole Premier League how to attack against them.
I think they were more panic buys though. I think Bertrand happened earlier, but I think Vestergaard was purely a panic buy. So I don't know. Morty, how do you see him?
It's a D, mainly because I think the strikers are there to try and start blooding some more. I mean, Vardy's, we don't know how many more he's going to give us in the Prem, whether he can hold on for that much longer. But yeah, as Tony said, you can't blast a team and then sign their defense. It doesn't work. Yeah, I don't know.
Campo.
I give them a D plus. Yeah, they signed strikers, which will probably be for Europa League or FA Cups, but just panic buying doesn't scream good signings there.
Harsh critics, boys. It was nice to wrap up with Leicester for part one. So I suppose we ended that the way we started that one with two bad signings for teams. We're going to be back with part two in just a few moments, so stick around.